It's really good to be with you guys. I'll share a little bit about what we've been doing at church, and then a bit of technical stuff for leading worship on Zoom as a platform. So, as others have said, we're really kind of learning week by week, and learning as we go on, making mistakes and trying to learn each time. We've been doing pre-recorded services for the last couple of weeks since we've been in complete lockdown. So different people have recorded different bits, and then someone has put them together. One of the advantages of that is that we haven't been at the mercy of our pastor's internet when he's been preaching to us. But yeah, so we've had different people kind of recording the music for that. So we have a couple of couples in the church, including me and my husband, who both play. So the other couple did the music one week, we did it another one, so we could be in the same room to record together, which worked well, I think. We've also started sort of multi-tracking some stuff. Partly we were really helped. There's an article by Music Ministry, show you, the link will come up later, about doing live stream services. And one of the things they suggested was using your best musicians, because it's so much more exposed than if you're singing in with a congregation. So not worrying about sort of including the whole music team at this particular time. But so that's also made us think, actually, I am not the best pianist by any stretch of the imagination in our church. So for Good Friday, we've experimented with different people recording tracks and laying them on top of each other. So we'll see how that goes. One thing we've learned from that is that our sense of pulse is not as good as we think it is. So one tip we're going to try for next week is the first person in the rhythm section to record it will play with a click track. We found Garageband, which is free, certainly for Apple software, a really easy tool to kind of put those together, and it has loads of presets. So if you're not very savvy with sort of processing stuff, like me, it's got some really great presets that you can kind of experiment with. Makes my voice sound much better, as well as my viola and oboe, which has been really helpful. I think, say, on like recording quality as well, like Ollie said, we found that iPhones are brilliant, and better than computers and iPads actually. They're really good, but yeah, it just seems to be always worth just testing your recording equipment before giving it a listen. I've got a kind of audio one that I use for recording my professional concerts that's been useful for going into that. And if you don't have one, see if someone in the church has a mic. In terms of doing then stuff on Zoom, the music quality is not as good. Although amazingly, I was so impressed by Sanjay's, and I'm rather jealous of his mic inputs, because actually that is the thing that will make the difference for using Zoom. So again, if you don't have some, do ask around in your church and community, see if people have some good input mics that you can put into computers. But the other option is for Zoom. So we're going to experiment with this for one of our Good Friday services that we're having on Zoom, is to pre-record yourself and then do a share screen. So you can still see the person in your church leading the worship. But when you share screen on Zoom, you can also opt to share the computer audio, so for example, when Beth shared Phil's video earlier, that audio was not going kind of through Zoom, it was kind of coming straight to our computer, which meant we could hear it really clearly. So that's one option, so you can still be meeting on Zoom, but not necessarily needing to have that input equipment. But if you are doing stuff just on Zoom, there's a couple of audio settings which you can change to make it good. So I'll just take you through these, which will basically help, because Zoom is set up for speech really, so it's automatic default settings to kind of get rid of any background noise, and it thinks that music is background noise. I know, heretical, but you can turn on original sounds. So if you go to your audio settings on Zoom and find advanced, we're able to get that one. Cool. So if you down the bottom of that screen, you can see get to audio setting. Now this only works on a laptop, it doesn't work on a phone or an iPad. So have the person who's leading worship be on a computer. And you click on audio settings and then click on advanced. And then once you get inside there, there's an option to to tick that box so that you have the option to enable the original sound from the microphone. And if you do have a USB input microphone, you can also select to use that rather than the computer one. And then the other thing you just need to do is to disable the first 2 drop-down boxes. And that will mean that the microphone is now picking up all the noise rather than suppressing other things. And then you have the option at the top of the screen to then turn on and off the original sound. So if you're playing and then you're doing a reading, you might want to turn off the original sound just so that your speech is really clear. But then you have that option there. As Sanjay mentioned earlier, it's sadly, because of the time lag with videos, it works best if everyone else is on mute when they're singing. Obviously that's really sad, but otherwise you don't really hear each other singing properly. You just hear this like slight cacophony wave, which is a shame, but it seems to have been what works best. Yeah, and some more kind of specific stuff on copyright as well. So there's that first article that I've linked has some really helpful stuff from CCLI on copyright. But basically it seems to be that if you're putting any of your links to services online, so it's sort of publicly available, and you're putting lyrics as part of on your videos, you'll need a streaming license. So the streaming license is about the videos, sorry, not the videos, the lyrics. But if you're sending the lyrics around separately, so you might send them as a PDF in an email, then you won't need necessarily the streaming license. The limited online music license is about the music itself. So if you're playing the music of a song that's been written in the last 70 years, then you'll need one of those. So that's from CCLI. So the normal CCLI license will not cover this, so you'd need the extra one. But CCLI have been really on it and preparing these resources. So there's a couple of articles there. We'll share those links as links as well. Yeah, I think that's sort of a slight crash course on using music on Zoom. So I hope that's helpful.